What's up, guys? Today I woke up to the news that Konami has decided to make Fairy Tail of all things an archetype. So I have read through the cards already. I'm ready to give you an overview of everything you need to know. We're going to talk about the individual cards and some baseline combos that I'm theory crafting. So let's just get into it. Here we are with all of the new Fairy Tail cards announced for Blazing Dominion. These are coming out in the OCG in January with an unannounced TCG release date, but I would expect us to get it sometime between like April, May, maybe June at the latest, but I think we'll get like a Battles of Legends set in June. So my guess would be like April or May. The archetype is getting 1 new main deck monster, 3 new extra deck monsters, and then we're getting 3 new spell cards, 1 equip, 1 quick play, and 1 field spell. Without further ado, we'll get into the card by card. But real quick before that, if you made it this far in the video, consider liking and subscribing so you can stay up to date with every piece of information and catch every single one of my daily uploads. Thanks so much for your support. So let's get started with the first card revealed and the only main deck monster in this wave of support, Fairy Tail Matchlil. She's a level 4 light spellcaster with 1850 attack. She has 3 effects. The first activates in hand or graveyard. If you control a spellcaster monster with the original attack 1850, you can special summon her, but you're spellcaster locked for the rest of the turn. It's not a pre-lock, so as long as you do this later in your combo, you won't be locked into spellcasters, but it does lock you once you've activated it, so just be careful with that. If you normal or special summon her, you can search your deck for a spell trap with Fairy Tail in its name. And lastly, you can pay 500 life points to change the name of one of your opponent's monsters to Fairy Prince, and that name change happens on resolution. It's interesting that this effect doesn't target. So now that we know how to summon Matchlil and what she searches for, let's look at the spells and traps that they've released with this wave of support. The first one we're going to talk about is the field spell, and it does quite a bit. When it resolves, you add a Fairy Tail monster or a Fairy Tail Tails, which is the continuous spell from Ghost from the Past, from your deck or banish pile to your hand. It also provides a continuous effect that all of your Fairy Tail monsters can attack directly. With 1850 attack, this is going to be important for dealing battle damage to your opponent. It also provides interaction with its last effect. If you control a Fairy Tail monster and your opponent special summons a monster, it triggers to change that monster's name to Fairy Prince and negate its effects. This card provides the deck with consistency, a win condition, and some tentative interaction on the opponent's turn. It's everything we could ask for on a field spell. So we will move right along from the consistency field spell to the extender quick play spell. You activate it, and on resolution you get to special summon 1 light Fairy Tail monster from 3 different locations: your banished pile, your graveyard, and your hand. And it's up to 1 from each, and they have different names. And then you spellcaster lock yourself for the turn. It's weird, but it reads really strong as just a get a bunch of bodies enabler. The second effect is if the card is sent to the graveyard, except from the field, or if it becomes banished, you can set it, but you can only activate it if you control a Fairy Tail monster. Now, we know that Snow banishes cards from the graveyard to summon itself, but it is banned in TCG. This card can also be triggered by the effect of Rella to get an equip spell. And would you look at that, an equip spell! Wow, this is pretty cool. This is how you do legacy support, Konami, thank you. So the equip spell also has 3 effects. This is the 4th card in a row that has 3 effects for this archetype. It gives the monster that it's equipped to 1000 attack. So we were talking about how 1850 is a little bit of a challenge in terms of closing out the game. This card is going to pump your Fairy Tail monsters up and let those direct attacks actually do meaningful damage. Additionally, it gives you the ability to fusion summon, and you can use materials from the hand or field. It has to be a spellcaster that you fusion summon, but it doesn't have to be a Fairy Tail, and that's interesting for maybe like Quintet Magician. I don't know. Comment down below what spellcaster fusion you're summoning with this card. But you can use Fairy Prince that your opponent controls as material too. So then it becomes a super poly? Wow, so what does this mean? But before we look at it as a super poly, we have to know the third effect, because that's the hard once per turn, and it's a strong one. If the card is in the graveyard, you can equip it from the graveyard to a Fairy Tail monster you control, and then immediately after that effect resolves, you can normal summon 1 spellcaster monster with 1850 attack. And this effect is powerful not only because it's going to let you reuse your fusion, but also with the right hands, you might get to trigger the effect of Fairy Tail Luna to search twice because it's not a hard once. So now that we've talked about the deck's ability to fusion summon, what fusion monsters are we even summoning? Because there haven't been Fairy Tail fusion monsters until now. Thankfully, Konami has decided to give us 2 in this set, and both of them are also 3 effect cards. The first is going to be the more generic one, and this is Weaver of Fairy Tail Tales. Try saying that 10 times fast. He requires 1 Fairy Tail monster and 1 spellcaster monster as material, and his first effect is a hard once per turn. It lets you special summon a Fairy Tail monster from your deck or banished pile. So this is going to be an extender. It's going to be able to trigger Match Lil in hands where you didn't see her, or searched a different card with your field spell. It's going to give you consistency, and it's going to give you another body on the field. Its second effect provides you with some interaction. If you normal or special summon a Fairy Tale monster while it's on the field, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, and change its name to Fairy Prince. And then on top of that, it provides a little bit of a floodgate with its continuous effect, which changes all Fairy Prince monsters your opponent controls to spellcaster types. And with that last card, we now have 3 ways to change our opponent's monsters to Fairy Prince. So what are we doing with them when we use the Super Poly effect of our equip spell? We summon this, Chronicler of the Fairy Tale Tales. She requires a light attribute Fairy Tale monster and a spellcaster monster. So you can summon this in engine, or once your opponent's Fairy Prince monsters are being treated as spellcasters, it becomes fair game to use them as material for her as well. Her first effect is if she was fusion summoned using Fairy Prince as material, you blow up your opponent's entire board and burn them for 500 times the number of cards they lost. She also provides you with a grind game condition by making it so all of your Fairy Tale monsters can't be destroyed by battle. And if that wasn't enough, she has a quick effect Omni just for banishing a Fairy Tale card from your hand or graveyard. Alongside the trigger effect of the quick play spell, this card is going to generate a ton of advantage for the deck. The last card revealed for the theme is a rank 4 Xyz, and it requires 2 level 4 spellcasters. This card's a little weird. When you have it, all of your light attribute Fairy Tale monsters become unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. It can also detach up to 2 materials from itself to Foolish Burial that many Fairy Tale cards from your deck. Notably, this lets you send the equip spell, which you can then equip to it from the graveyard to gain a normal summon and possibly fusion to extend your plays. And last, it has a Lingaribo kind of graveyard effect where at quick effect speed, you can target one Fairy Tale monster that you have that's original attribute is light, you special summon this card from the graveyard, and then you send that target to the graveyard. At first glance, I think this card will be most useful in the strategy, giving it bridges with other spellcaster themes that include level 4s, or even just alongside good old Summoner Monk. So with all of the card text out of the way, let's get into some combo theory. I'm going to start with a 1-card combo off of Field Spell, and we'll talk about the implications of multi-card combos and different opening hands as we go. It's a very modular deck. You can play it with different types of spellcaster engines. I can foresee it being played with the upcoming Charmer support if that stuff is good enough. I can also see it being played with Magistus, but we'll talk about the engine itself and what you can do with it, and we'll go from there. So our first combo is going to be off of Field Spell with nothing else in hand. We're going to activate the Field Spell, and when it resolves, we're going to add Fairy Tale Luna to our hand. We're going to normal summon Fairy Tale Luna and add Match Lil. Then we can activate Match Lil in the hand because Luna meets the stat line requirement to special summon her. When we special summon Match Lil, we'll search our deck for a Fairy Tale spell trap. We're going to add the equip spell that allows us to fusion summon. We'll activate the equip spell, equipping it to either Luna or Match Lil, it doesn't really matter, and we'll use the effect to fusion summon into Weaver. We'll make Weaver, and we'll activate his effect to special summon a Fairy Tale monster from the deck. This is where the combo starts to divert. If you have a spellcaster monster with 1850 attack in your hand already, you can special summon Sleeper here or Luna for an extra piece of interaction on your end board, and I'll explain that in a second. But if you don't have a monster in your hand to normal summon off of the graveyard effect of the equip spell, you can special summon any name here just to get another one into rotation for the quick play spell, or if Snow gets unbanned, this is a great opportunity to summon her from the deck just to get her into the graveyard. Once you've summoned your monster off of Weaver, you're going to activate the graveyard effect of the equip spell to re-equip it to the Weaver and normal summon a monster from your hand if applicable. Then you activate the effect to fusion summon using Weaver, and ideally the monster you normaled from your hand, if not the one that you summoned from your deck, to make Chronicler. At this point, your end board has both Field Spell and Chronicler on it, providing you with an Omni Negate and the effect to negate the effects of a special summon monster on the chain when your Field Spell triggers if your opponent special summons. You also have the ability to end on either Sleeper or Luna here if you had a monster to normal summon with the graveyard effect of the equip spell. You choose your interaction because Weaver lets you summon either one. Luna will give you a bounce of any monster, assuming its name has been changed to Fairy Prince. And Sleeper will give you the ability to negate a normal spell. So playing into something like Draco Tail, it could be a great target to summon for your opponent's board. Ultimately, this 1-card combo ends on a monster negate, an Omni negate, and potential interaction from the monster summoned from the deck off of Weaver. There are also all kinds of 2-card openers that can get you to this end board and more with higher ceilings. I'll put some of the combinations of cards up on the screen now. I haven't had time to line all the way through like the deterministic end boards, but the potential is definitely there. So check out these combinations of cards if you're interested in using this routing as a foundation. And we are back where we started. Wow, that was a lot. 7 new cards, 21 new effects, and a bunch of new combo possibilities for a brand new archetype sprouted up from the ground with just the seeds that Konami has planted over the years of the various fairy tale monsters. I think this legacy support is super exciting, and I can't wait to see how people mix and match it with existing spellcaster strategies in the game. Let me know your initial thoughts and reactions in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.